slamming our rainbow and Clinton. Yay. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year's Day. Actually, it's not New Year's Day. Close
Glenn,
enough.
Did you have a fun New Year's?
It was really sort of, we played a new game called Life in Ratana. And then it was very chill. Very chill. How about yourself?
Very chill as well.
Yeah. You know, we're at that age
Yeah, I
now.
mean, it was many years ago now that I was like, you know what? Do I have to be up after midnight?
No.
That's right.
Not really. So, whenever anyone's like, did you have like a crazy New Year's? I'm like,
No.
crazy sleep.
Right.
That was fun.
My favorite thing I did on New Year's was we watched something called Swinging in the New Year with the Nose Apes of Borneo. Like they were mocking you. Like, you don't have anything to do. You're swinging in the New Year with the Borneo Nose Apes. So
we stood up at midnight and cheersed, and then all immediately went to sleep. Like, Happy New Year, clink, clink, clink. All right, good night.
Don't forget to turn off the lights.
I've always, living on the West Coast, I'm always like, oh, everyone thinks that like, the ball dropping on the East Coast is New Year's Eve. I'm like, no, that's no. You gotta stay up till midnight, East or West Coast rather. But I often by about 11:15, I'm like, do we really care? We've already done it. Let's just have a nice nap.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Carrie Underwood has already sung. It's fine.
Right. We've seen it. Yeah.
I was watching New Year's in Dubai, I don't know, around 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh.
The fireworks on the Burj Khalifa were quite awesome.
I saw those too. Those
There you go.
Very, very impressive.
And they had the entire building, which is huge, as an LED
Have a
display.
good show, everybody.
Yay.
Good day, Internet.
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 This is DTNS Live for Friday, January 3rd, 2025, the first Friday of the new year. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
Drawing the top tech stories. In Cleveland, I'm Len Peralta.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Daily Tech News Show Live is made possible by you listening right now. Thanks to you, Tim Deputy, Brandon Brooks, Hector Bones. And we got brand new patrons, Jay, DeBishop, Jeff, Joseph, and Con. Welcome all the new patrons.
Thank you to all the new ones and the ones who have been with us for the real ones for a long time. Hello and welcome to DTNS Live. This is the show where we spend a little more time discussing the news along with you, our live audience, and our patrons. If you're looking for that focused daily tech news show you know and love, don't worry, we got you covered. Check out your DTNS feeds and Patreon. Let's see what's happening latest on the news feeds. Apple Fitness Plus and Strava have a new partnership with the combined effort offering more detailed workout summaries, appearances by Strava athletes in Fitness Plus content, and a free 3-month trial for Strava subscribers. Users can view workout thumbnails alongside details like episode number, musical genre, trainer, metrics, achievements, all sorts of things that might be good for you if it works for you. Strava has previously integrated with other companies like Peloton and Ladder.
Ahead of CES 2025, Hisense unveiled the L9Q laser TV projector. which can project a measly 150-inch display on your wall with only 5,000 lumens of brightness and just the 6.2.2 channel Dolby Atmos sound. Also, I think it's a 5,000 to 1 contrast ratio. Runs Google TV and no word on pricing, but it could probably be more than $6,500 based on previous models.
Universal Music Group, Concord Music Group, and ABKCO sued AI company Anthropic in 2023, alleging copyright infringement for training its language model on lyrics from over 500 songs without consent. The lawsuit highlighted existing licensed markets being undercut by the unlicensed use. Under a recent agreement, Anthropic will maintain guardrails to prevent unauthorized reproduction of lyrics, with publishers able to intervene if issues arrive. Court ruling on a potential injunction barring future training on copyrighted lyrics is pending.
More than 6 VPN apps, including Cloudflare's popular 1.1.1.1, have been removed from India's Apple App Store and Google Play Store following the Indian Ministry of Home Affairs issuing orders for their removal. In a communication to one of the affected developers, Apple reportedly cited a demand from the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which deemed the developer content to contravene Indian law. Basically, they put a law in a couple of years ago that require the companies to keep the username, address, and IP address of everyone subscribing, which kind of defeats the purpose of a VPN.
Meta having a bit of a week. The company announced Thursday, and we talked about this with Justin Robert Young on the show yesterday, that it's replacing its global affairs president, Nick Clegg, with his deputy, Joel Kaplan. Today, we're going to focus on Meta executive Connor Hayes telling the Financial Times that the company is going to roll out AI character profiles on Instagram and also Facebook, and that, quote, they exist on our platforms kind of in the same way that accounts do. They'll have bios and profile pictures and be able to generate and share content powered by AI on the platform.
There's some confusion as to how and if this is different from the Meta-controlled AI profiles already on the platform, which have been there for well over a year. Hayes says Meta ultimately envisions releasing tools that allow users to create these characters and profiles, and for those AI profiles to live alongside normal profiles. So while they aren't new, some people think Meta's already existing AI-generated profiles are in the mix with this. So my question to you guys is that they actually made mention that this was for younger folks, that they're trying to grow younger folks. I'm clearly not that. I'm firmly implanted in Gen X. I am 50-ish. I have no desire to talk to fake people. I don't even like to talk to real people who are fake. So I definitely don't want to talk to fake people, but that may just be me. I just might be aged beyond this, but do you see this going somewhere to where people are really going to be enthralled with talking to robots instead of talking to other people on social networks?
In the most like the sunniest version of this, this is Meta that we're talking about, but I try to liken it to, okay, when I was younger and I had a AOL Instant Messenger profile, right? And, we all had, we were not doing, this was way before the early days of Instagram. Like nobody even saw each other. It was just sort of like, oh, this is your online persona. This is what's going on. I loved that back in the day. This is a very, very, very different scenario going on right now. And of course, when you're talking about Meta, a lot of people get up in arms because it's Meta, because of the control and possible, bad situation going on with people of all ages, but particularly the younger people. I don't know. Meta apparently said in 2023, hey, we'd like to try this out, and is now rolling out this test situation. And yeah, I don't really know that it's a bad thing. I think it might be chaotic, but also this doesn't really seem different than what we've been doing online for like 25 years.
Rob made me think champagne for my real friends, real pain for my chatbot friends. This is very classically the kind of thing when I was younger that people older than me would say, well, what is Twitter even good for? Like, why
are you
would
on there?
Why would you even want to do X, Y, or Z new technology thing? So I'm trying very hard not to have a knee-jerk reaction that is like, why would anyone want to do this? I don't know if this is company thinks young people want this and young people look at it and roll their eyes, or if it's people going, oh no, this is kind of fun. This is cool. And when I think about it, I think of like celebrity culture, idol culture, where you're having a one-sided relationship with someone you follow, musician, actor, etc. That is extremely popular. It's extremely lucrative. There are many examples of it around the world in all walks of life and different cultures. And so this could be the modern version of that, where yeah, I mean, if I'm a fan of someone and I know they'll never really talk to me, that's not a problem for a lot of people. This is someone who can actually talk to you, right? It's not a real person, but if it's done right, it could satisfy that. People could become fans. And that's why in these articles, they're showing the false Instagram influencers that look real and they post as if they're real, and these chatbots let people talk to them. I could see there being a group of people who have fun doing it. They know it's not real. It's not like fooling them. It's just fun.
In a way, it's sort of like the next step in your avatar. Before it was like either Second Life or The Sims, and then we moved on to social media. You could make like a very
I see where you're going with this.
Carefully curated image of yourself.
Right. It's not a real you, even though you're the one posting. This is just the next step. Huh.
So I'm especially I noticed with my kids, like they make a lot of imaginary people like that are part of their friend group. And I can see where we're appealing to a younger age set. I'm just curious to know if there's enough there to make it financially worthwhile. Like, are you going to get enough young people there, and you're going to get enough eyeballs that you're selling?
Oh, sure, yeah, that's always the question, right?
But I mean,
maybe these are just really detailed imaginary friends.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question: the AI social influencers that are out there now, the really good ones, do people know that they are AI and they're not interacting with an actual human, or are they being fooled into thinking that they're acting, that they're having a conversation with a real person? Because these ones, it's going to be clear that you're not having a conversation with a real person. It's very evident. Meta is not trying to fool you. So I'm just wondering, are people going to flock to these the same way if they know that they're in fact AI?
No, that's a good point. Like, will it turn people off or will it matter? You can tell these are AI. I created one called Tech Tom that I decided to mess around with. It hasn't been terribly great. Some people can't even get into it. It seems kind of buggy. I asked it what I thought its hot trend at CES would be.
Wait, how would they be able to get into it? Like where?
Oh, because you can publish these and then you can send the link out. So I put a link in our Discord, right? And you can click on it.
But it still was a little glitchy.
Yeah, like Joe, our video producer, couldn't even get into it. Some people in Discord said they tried it and it failed. And if you look at mine, I asked it, what do you think will be a hot trend at CES? And it answered me, something went wrong. Although it really started to work. Like it started to work. And then, Joe, I don't know if you're going to put this up on the screen. I didn't want to put it up without you. But yeah, it's it's just like something went wrong. Let's ask it something like, are you going to be at CES? It's thinking.
Tech Tom is thinking. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I'll be attending CES, hosting live podcast episodes from the show floor. Oh, planning to interview industry leaders and showcase cutting edge tech trends. Want me to scope out anything specific while I'm there? Sure.
Yes.
AI. Yeah, right.
Tech Tom was like, all right.
I'll be diving deep into CES's AI exhibits, especially generative AI. Yeah.
Ask it a personal question.
Like what?
Ask it who Tom Merritt is.
Do you know who Tom Merritt is? It's thinking. Is a legend in tech podcasting. We've actually crossed paths at CES before. No, we haven't. He's known for his work on Daily Tech News Show, previously on Tech TV.
Tech Tom is you.
It is me.
It is you.
Ask it if you can meet
There's no
up with-
cross to be pathed and path to be crossed.
So here's the question: Is this pulling from data unique to you, Tom, like based off of your interactions with the internet, or if anyone else if I created a Tech Rob and asked the exact same questions you were asking Tech Tom, would we get the same responses?
It all comes from you picking a type of chatbot. I picked informational or something like that, and then I describe it. What the description I used is Tech Tom is a seasoned podcaster and tech expert who provides balanced insights into the world of technology with a passion for demystifying complex concepts. Tech Tom coaches users through the latest tech trends, innovations, and challenges, encouraging critical thinking and informed decision making. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or just curious about the digital world, Tech Tom is here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of technology. And then it broke all that down into these different instructions. So the instructions you can then tweak yourself, but it creates a bunch of them on their own, and that's how it decides how it acts.
Okay.
So like, you do not offer advice unless requested. Ask follow-up questions. Encourage active engagement. These are all default instructions. I added the one, Tech Tom does not identify as any political party.
Fred819 in our chat said, who's going to cover the therapy bills for dealing with all these fake Facebook and Instagram friends?
You know, it's funny.
I mean,
you say
I know,
that.
like, it's like, haha, but like, that's actually that's a legit question.
I mean, it's interesting you say that, Sarah, because I was reading. I think we were talking about this like yesterday, or perhaps before the holidays, about some people using generative AI as sort of a therapy, like conversational tool in order to.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
But, I also think about all the times that people used to be part of fan groups for like popular singers, and they would have these custom, like, notes written to them because they paid their like $10 monthly.
Used to be. I mean,
used to
still,
be.
yeah.
Still get it for, allegedly from that celebrity, handwritten and signed by them. But at some point, I think you realize it, and I think society just adjusts their filters to kind of like look at these with a very, skeptical eye.
I mean, they have relationship coach as one of the AI character types, attentive listener. These could be the kind of these could be the therapist that helps you, honestly.
It could
probably
be
better to get them from a licensed practitioner, but these are capable of doing that as well.
Well, and I think anybody who's in the medical field, well, not anybody, but many people in that field will just like cringe and be like, no, my gosh, this is exactly why we went to grad school, to be able to give you the help that you need. This is not the way. It is going to be the way. I think we all have to get used to it being the way for a lot of things. Not necessarily. This is not going to make a doctor or a nurse become
obsolete.
Obsolete. Thank you. But I think we're going to deal with a lot of the stuff more and more, and it's cringy and scary to a lot of people right now because still early days. I mean, 5 years ago, we weren't talking about any of this stuff. Now we are. It's here.
It's all brand
here
new.
to stay.
It's all brand new.
Yep.
When you were saying that, Sarah, it totally reminded me of in Star Trek The Next Generation. I hate to bring you back to Star Trek, but there's always instances of okay, I don't hate it, but just in case. There are always instances of one of the show's characters going into the holodeck and then talking to a historical or famed medical figure in order to resolve an issue. Isn't this just the first step in that? Like we have a generative AI model trained on Sigmund Freud or Dr. Spock, not Mr. Spock. And
that's not what this is, though.
Well, no,
right?
no.
Though that is possible and does exist. Sorry, it's not time to end the show yet. But
wow,
I was like, that was
Get out of
quick.
here.
play him off. but this isn't that. This is that's possible and that's good. I don't know if this becomes that because it's not based on historical figures. It's not based on actual personality types. It's very rudimentary, at least so
and
far.
That's what I mean so far. But if you could. If just let's just take it to like this crazy, extreme conclusion, Meta allows you to train that, allows you to use their was it Lambda or Llama? Yeah, Llama. To train on all of your history and all your posts or whatever. So if your friend ever needs to talk to you, but you're not
that already
available.
exists from other companies. Is what I was saying. Character AI is very famous for that. There's a few others that do that now too.
If you can integrate it all into one stop where everyone already can access you and you don't have to set up a new profile and get everyone to visit or send them a link.
That's the problem with this. This is watered down because Meta is afraid if they do that, they'll take the heat that character AI and others have gotten for creating fake people or being open to abuse because you could use somebody else's data to create somebody. And so instead of getting something that's useful because it could be abused, we're getting watered down types that, you can only make one paragraph and you can't imitate actual people, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even on the, just the sense of something that is like the early days of Snapchat. And I've talked about this before. It's like, I don't know, we're all used to filters on Instagram, right? I mean, that was like the first point of, unless you were, hanging out in Photoshop and doing stuff, it's like Instagram was the first time where you were like, oh, I can make myself look different. Then Snapchat was like, oh yeah, you can make yourself look different. And you can also make yourself a unicorn vomiting a rainbow, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is really fun. And that continues to this day. And a lot of other companies have adopted this. The idea that a AI version of you that is more or less just you, but maybe makes you feel more comfortable or have more fun or, be a little bit more, rainbow-esque, like whatever that is. I don't think that on its surface is a bad thing. I don't think what Meta's doing is a bad thing. I know that Meta is eyebrow raising for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but I don't think this on its surface is a lot different than what you could do other places.
Free Rangers is bringing up the dead internet theory. Do y'all know the dead internet theory?
No.
That's that either already or eventually the internet just becomes a bunch of bots talking to each other and there's no more humans on it.
Well, we're closer than we were.
Oversimplifying, but that's
10 years ago. That's for sure.
This is the thought that I had of where this potentially could go. And it's going to be interesting to see if Meta can dance the fine line between doing something that could be dangerous and doing what they're doing now. But there's another sci-fi show, Caprica, which is an off-spin of Battlestar Galactica. And basically what that show did is it goes back to before the Cylons and the people of Battlestar Galactica started fighting each other and how the first one was created. And basically was a very, very smart young lady figured out how to scrape the internet for all of everything about her existence and created a sentient AI that was essentially a representation of her. And then her father, because she passed away, missed her, put her, her essence into a Cylonic body. I won't give the rest of the show away, but that's kind of what I think this could eventually get to, because I'm just thinking about just things that I do for myself for the last 2.5 years. Everything that I've ever written, everything that I've ever recorded is all in a database that is gettable by Google. And they could take all of that and they could come up with, if you go read everything I've written and everything that I've said over the last 2.5 years, you probably could estimate how I would respond to some things over the last 2.5 years. And I think eventually these things are going to get so good to where they can do that if they actually are able to train on individuals enough to where you could have a AI Robb arguing with an AI Tom in a AI realm that neither Tom or Robb are in, and it's not us. So it is kind of that dead internet theory. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I didn't notice until just now that one of the popular AI characters on the Meta AI Studio is Are You Hot? A quiz game where you find out if you're hot based on 10 questions.
Oh, because, sometimes it's humid outside type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have sweat on your forehead? I imagine.
Right.
would be one of the
Look,
questions.
what's your temperature? How can we take it?
Are you wearing a sweater? Yeah.
What's your age? That would, that would determine how we might take your temperature. All right. Moving on to our next topic, because we're all over the place today. Tom, tell us more about what's going on from the conversation that you picked for us.
Yeah, theconversation.com has an article from a professor of intelligent systems and data science about the idea of putting data centers into space. So we've talked a lot on the show about data centers being power hungry and increasingly using more and more of the grid, not just because of AI, but just because of cloud systems in general. And AI uses obviously starting to eat up more and more power as well. We've talked about the cost of running them. We've talked about companies engaging in exclusive deals with nuclear reactors just to power their data centers because they're trying to be carbon neutral. And this article looks at the idea of putting data centers in space. So launching your data center into orbit and then connecting to it the way you connect to satellite internet. It has some big advantages. You can just power it from the sun. You got no clouds between you and the sun at that point. You don't have to cool it, because as we know from Star Trek, it's very cold in space. And you also don't need a permit, at least not yet, to put something into orbit. So you don't have to deal with environmental reviews or people saying not in my backyard. You just pop that thing up into orbit and you've got a data center. Downsides are meteoroids, especially the tiny ones, other debris, and solar flares. So there's an extra cost of shielding this thing from rocks and solar flares. It's not cheap to get things into orbit. It's much cheaper than it used to be, obviously, and getting cheaper all the time, but it's still not cheap. And you also have carbon emissions from launches. But there are a couple of companies doing this. Lumen Orbit plans to build a full-scale prototype this year, and the EU's Ascend project, which is backed by France's Thales, is saying it can launch 25 gigawatts of capacity over the next 25 years. So it looks like we've got some companies planning to try this. Whether it'll catch on or not, I don't know. But I kind of got excited. I don't know about y'all, about the idea of data centers just in orbit. Am I overlooking the Skynet aspects of this? Sure. But yeah, it would solve a lot of the power issues that are currently a problem with data centers on the ground.
Yeah, I think, my first reaction to this is, okay, well, like you said, we don't totally care what you're doing once you get into space, because who's up there, the municipality of wherever it is does not exist. But you have to go through a lot of leaps and bounds to get there in the first place.
You have to pay. I mean, at this point, you just pay SpaceX. You say, hey, SpaceX, put this on your rocket and deploy it for me. You also have to design it. You have to make it so that it's not so low in Earth orbit that it's just going to deorbit after a couple of years. You want it to be up there for a while. Transmission issue is laggy at this point, even with the advances that Starlink and others have done. So it's not a silver bullet, but at least it's got potential, right?
I don't know that I think this will be a thing before space elevators are a thing. Because if you have to strap data center stuff to giant firecrackers and shoot them into space, that is ridiculously expensive. When you're talking, I mean, I used, one of my first jobs in IT was literally working in a data center. Ultimately, I became the data center manager, and just those sheer weight of the servers and all the things, that is immensely expensive when you think of how much it costs to put a kilogram into space. So I just don't see the cost benefit. This is more of a, we can do this thing. Here's how technically we can do it. I don't know that there's going to be an entity that would be willing to pay the amount to make that happen, safely over time. Maybe once we get to space elevators, which I don't think is too far off, to where you literally don't have to launch it into space. You literally can strap it to something and it just yanks it up into it. then maybe that would be a thing. But I think by the time we're there, even though you don't think of space as real estate, we're going to think, the space above countries. We're going to start fighting over that because there's a lot of space junk now, but there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of it in the not too distant future. So you're going to start having governments that are going to start literally fighting with each other over what can you launch, where can you launch it, where can these things
Which orbit
exist?
can you inhabit, all of
Exactly.
that.
And I don't think that we're far off from that. So I think by the time that this is actually viable, we will be into the realm to where you will need permits, you will need other things, just because there's going to be so much stuff in space that we still want to be able to launch things to get to outer space, which is getting more and more difficult. The more things you put into low orbit, or even a distant orbit, the harder it is to put more things into orbit and get, from our atmosphere to someone else.
The pressure to have some international agency that just coordinates stuff not running into each other, is becoming more and more of a real need. So that's not going to last forever. And you're talking about 25-year timelines. I mean, the Ascend project isn't saying, oh, we'll do it, in the next year or two. I did some quick math. Let's say would a ton, 1,000 kilograms be a good approximation for a data center? Is that reasonable? I just picked that back.
Not even close.
How many kilograms?
My data center was, was 5 stories of a downtown building that was 37 stories high.
What's the smallest data center? Let me just get my number out there.
Like how many tons?
1,000 kilograms would cost between 2.7 million and 10 million right now to launch.
A metric ton is what, 2,400?
That's
2,200 pounds.
Yeah.
It's about
1,000 kilograms.
So the bigger issue that I see is that data centers, you kind of actually have to go in there and service them every once in a while, especially if there's failed hardware.
Very regularly, yeah.
If there's how would you get something up to take out, we have a failed array of drives that we need to replace?
I feel like they're talking about robots doing that kind of stuff, which adds to the cost and adds to the complexity, right? And the need for shielding.
And to go back to what Rob was saying,
I mean, you could talk about they're talking about putting data centers, and they actually have some data centers underwater, so they're not too worried about the service issues on those.
But that's the orders cheaper of pulling something back up. That's in a buoyant medium versus space.
Once you put it down there, you're probably not going into it very often, is what I'm saying. And they're just assuming that the failure rates won't be large enough. Because to be honest, with modern solid state drives and stuff, you have more of a failure tolerance than you used to.
At what point does that technology become outdated and you want to upgrade that floating data?
Yeah, right.
But to go back to what Rob was saying about like countries fighting, doesn't that just sort of paint a giant bullseye on the side of that floating data center?
Well, yeah, but you could also drop a missile on your one on the ground too. So I don't know that that's really all that different.
Yeah, but the whole thing of space sovereignty is still very mercurial. So you could probably get away with it collided with your data center satellite back.
Yeah. Do you think that's a reason not to try this?
No, I'm just saying that is.
I don't think that's something nobody's thought of either. Like that doesn't feel like a blocker.
If we still had this space shuttle around that could actively pull low Earth orbiting satellites back down, I could see it being a little more.
I can actually see it. I just don't see it. I don't see it anytime soon.
It's
and by
expensive.
the time we're technically able to do it, I think there's going to be other considerations that we'll be fighting over because, like I said, space is a big place, but it's not that big right around the Earth to where this stuff makes sense. And the more junk you have up there, the harder it is to do anything. Every time there's a launch, the next launch is harder. Yeah.
That said, I agree with y'all on all of this. I'm glad a couple of companies are investigating it. Doesn't mean it'll work, but if it might work, I think it's worth it for these companies to investigate and see if maybe they can make it work. Because there have been other things that everybody thought wouldn't work that ended up changing everything.
If they can make money, it will be done.
Yep, exactly. And these two companies think they can make money, so let them take a shot at it. A moonshot, if you will.
Speaking of moonshots, a few of you, in fact, quite a few of you have been adding to our discussion so far, and a few of you have been submitting some really good titles over at dtns.showbot.tv. If you haven't been over there now, you're listening, you're watching, head on over there and vote on what you think is a good title. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're serious. We've got fake people. We don't even like real people from Clinton Woodward.
That's right, Clinton.
I mean, Clinton, speak my language, but okay. Extra fake social media from the Stoic Man.
That's not bad.
And quite a few others. So we'll find out which one becomes the actual show title at the end of the show. But there is still time to submit one. So again, vote on them at dtns.showbot.tv. We've been talking about CES, and it is next week in Las Vegas. By the time you see us next, half of us will be in Las Vegas, a town that's home to the largest concentration of casinos in the country. But besides, live shows, gambling, sports venues, how much do you really know about Sin City? Roger's put together a little quiz to test our knowledge. I have not looked at this, so I'm coming in blind.
That's great.
Len, would you like to join us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I love Las Vegas.
Len
I
likes
don't
to
know.
do it because he always wins, but okay.
No, I just,
Fine.
my son and daughter-in-law are in Las Vegas right now. So they're not helping me. I don't have like
Hold on,
anybody-
Dad. We're going to find the answer for you right when we drive to it.
All right.
No, I love Las Vegas. It's one of my favorite places in the world. So
I like it sometimes.
when you're working, it's a different story.
When you're working or for fun, very different situations. But even then, sometimes working there is more fun than
It's more.
yeah. You I don't know. It's a crazy desert town.
When I was in my 20s, I couldn't wait to go to Vegas. The first time I ever went, and even after that. Now I go to Vegas at least twice a year, and I have to. And it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let's start with question number 1. This should be a pretty easy one. What year did CES first come to the Las Vegas Strip? Or Las Vegas?
Come to Las Vegas.
Convention Center.
So here's a question, Roger. Is this the first year of CES period, or just the first
No,
year
I
that
can
it
tell
was
you
in
that.
Las
First
Vegas?
time.
So CES started in Chicago. So this is what year did it come to
okay.
Vegas?
CES started in New York, but
Oh, yeah,
it's
we
Oh, it
Chicago.
started in New
about
York?
this.
Then
We
it
talked
was in
about
Chicago
this.
after that. Okay.
Yeah, and then it first came to life. Gosh,
I want to say like
amazing.
68, but I can't remember.
1968?
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay, I don't
wasn't going
think
back
it
that
was
far.
that long ago. But
I'm going
but,
to say 2008.
2008.
2008.
How can
I've been
I
in
was at
CES in
Len's
Vegas
out.
prior
Len's
to
out.
2008.
I am out.
I think I remember hearing about it when I was in college or maybe in grad school. So I want to go 93.
Okay.
93. Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, you're all wrong. It started.
I didn't
in
even do it
Yeah,
yet.
you're going to give Sarah a chance to make a
Sarah's
guess?
got it.
Jeez. Yeah.
Guess what,
well,
Sarah? Don't pick
now I
any of
know
our
they're
answers. We're all wrong.
Let's call it 85.
Oh, that's a good guess. I think you might be right.
You're much
You're clo-
closer.
you're probably
than
the
everyone
closest.
else, but you're still wrong. So the year was 1977, and it was because CES
Wow.
was back
I
in
think
the
I
old
win
days
because Price is Right rules.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You do.
when CES used to have a summer and winter, so they would have 2 events in the year, and the winter would be held in Las Vegas because it would be too snowy in
And
Chicago.
the summer one was in Chicago. That's why I was thinking of Chicago. Okay. Got it.
But 1977.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I mean, it was-
besides the fact that it's like, oh, that's a long time ago. Think about what everyone was looking at in 1977. That's fun.
Wayne Newton was
You know what?
headlining.
It makes sense. You know why? Because if it came out in 77, that means that CES is Gen X. And if we know anything about Gen X, Gen Xers are awesome. So
Well, that
it
that
makes
is
sense.
Your
that
logic is
true.
sound.
Yeah.
I can't argue.
I have to agree.
But it's like what were we looking at? Like just like modems, where people are like,
No,
look at
we were
this
looking-
modem.
Look
We
at
were
this
looking at-
Atari
It,
system.
Radios,
it eventually is going to.
TVs.
It's
Yeah.
going
Consumer
to change our
electronics,
life.
though. Yeah, it's radios, it's appliances.
And remember,
Video
Consumer
game?
Electronics CES spun out of a music show, like where people were showcasing musical instruments.
yeah, a lot of
electronic
speakers and
synthesizers,
audio.
so.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to question 2. This one I pulled from the Visitors Bureau. How many conventions and trade shows do you think Las Vegas typically hosts in 1 year?
Oh gosh,
Conventions and
collectively.
trade shows
123.
in a year.
123. I'm going to say 250.
Because they have multiples going on at a time.
Conferences in a year. I'm going to go 1,577.
Wow.
Wait, so
Okay.
Because you figure there's multiple
1577.
going on simultaneously
Yeah,
at all
okay.
times.
Right. Yeah. And they could last 2 or 3 days in some
I'm
cases.
going to
not
do
even
Price is
all.
Right. Price is Right on this one and say 800.
Roger, what's the answer?
The answer is 24,000.
24,000? So
Get outta
Rob
here.
is
Come on.
undershooting.
Man,
Everyone undershot.
24,000.
So
I was
it's
off by
Is that
trade
number
show-
right?
Yeah.
Well, some of those
meetings,
would be
24,000?
meetings
I
and
guess.
conventions.
Yeah,
It
meetings.
says meeting. You didn't say meetings.
Yeah.
Well, those-
I think that we were led astray a little bit.
All right.
I would have
Trade shows
added
and
10,000 if you would have said meetings.
24,000. Nuts.
That's
No,
just
I mean,
somebody
it's-
renting a
it's
ballroom somewhere
No,
and
it's just
spending
not-
a day.
No, I mean
Like-
this. All right. All right.
All right.
I'll make it up for you. I'll make it up to you on this third one. This third
Okay.
one is a very pop culture one. Most people
right.
should get it.
Okay.
In 1967, this famous American business tycoon, aeronautical engineer, and film producer was asked to leave the Desert Inn because he had been staying at the penthouse suite far too long, and the New Year's rush of guests were coming in, and they wanted to clear him out. He was so irked by that request that he ended up buying the hotel. And
American
Sounds like
business
a
tycoon.
Howard Hughes move to me.
Sarah,
That's 2 for Howard Hughes.
2, Sarah.
I mean,
Film producer, though. Was Howard Hughes a film producer?
yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Very much
He had
so.
a
Yeah.
big.
He
Yeah,
was the
I gotta go with-
aviator.
Howard
So-
Hughes also.
All right,
3,
fine.
you-
Howard Hughes.
4. Yes, Howard Hughes.
Yay! We got
Ding, ding,
one.
Yeah, so this was at this phase where he was that like kind of weird recluse. He didn't want to see anyone. He was
Bring in
always
the
just kind
milk.
of holed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
He lost a lot of weight, but he also minted. So
He
could
also
do that.
he also crashed his plane into like an area of LA.
Was that the Spruce Goose? Yeah.
That really happened.
That was
Yeah.
over in Playa Vista, I think.
And then Disney
Yeah.
bought it. And now it's like a little attraction, right? Next to the Queen Mary.
You know what this reminds me of? It
Google
reminds
bought
me
the hangar.
of the Batman Begins when Bruce Wayne and his girlfriends were in the hotel and they were swimming in the. I don't think you said. I don't even think it was a pool. I think it was just like water,
Uh-huh.
like a water fixture. And the maitre d' comes out and says, "You can't be swimming in here." And he's like, "Yes, I can. I just bought the building
The
or something
hotel.
like that."
Yeah,
Wrote a
yeah,
check.
exactly.
Question 4. This one's near to dear to my heart. What year did the first Elvis-themed wedding occur in Las Vegas? Hint:
Roger.
it happened after Elvis's death. So a little trivia there. But before 1980.
Oh, come on. 1978.
79. Just to be different than Len, since he
Let's
picked
go late
79.
77.
Well,
Yeah,
it
okay.
happened after Elvis.
Good, you might be right, Rob. Yeah.
Which I think was like 1973.
No.
No, it was later than that.
78,
What?
77, I think.
I think it was
Yeah.
77. Yeah.
You guys aren't supposed to help me.
I'm just-
Okay.
We can help you.
This
If
is
we
a
want
team
to do
effort.
whatever
My
we
mom
want.
was
Only
broken
Roger
hearted
can.
when Elvis.
We're just trying to all beat Roger. That's all.
That's right.
Before the 1980s. I don't know. Yeah, 1976.
Oh, Rob, you win. 1977.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that was very quick. You know, right after his
I don't
death.
know why I know
So-
that's the year that
and
Elvis passed,
it
but
was
I
a-
do. So yeah.
So that chapel was originally named the McKee Wedding Chapel after a Scottish immigrant who built it up in the 30s. The new owners who bought it were so happy that Elvis visited 10 years before the chapel. in person that when he passed away, they renamed it in honor of him.
Oh.
And they called it Graceland Chapel.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
very
nice.
Very nice.
It's still there today.
That's not the one I got married at. There's many, many Elvi in Vegas.
Okay.
All right. Question 5. The Strata, formerly the Stratosphere, is a hotel and a casino in Vegas, but it also includes a 1,150-foot tall observation tower, the tallest in the United States. When it launched in 1996, it had 2 rides that were kind of the keystone thing of attracting visitors. Name one of them. There are 2 things. that you can do.
The drop, the Stratosphere
Okay, that's
drop.
one. Yeah.
Was there a
The
roller
drop.
coaster?
Yes.
Okay, so both of you share. One was the Big Shot, which was the up and down ride, the pneumatic ride, and the roller coaster was called the High Roller.
Oh, yeah.
Both
Okay.
of them so scary. I did them both. I was like, oh my gosh.
Really?
Are
Oh,
Are they?
wow.
yeah.
There's not
impressive.
an open anymore, correct?
they not?
The-
I
they
thought-
they
I
replaced
thought they were
one of the
pretty fun.
rides. They added a few more over the years just to get people up there,
Whew.
which I don't remember.
I don't think I'd want to do that.
Yeah, I
You should
think,
do it
I
once
think-
before you go.
I think when it was like kind of new and cool, I was probably there in like 2002. And everyone was like, we have to do it. We
Here's-
have to go to the Stratosphere, like, like how scared do you want to be? And I'm like, I guess really scared. But it was fun.
All right. Question 6. This is a super easy one. 1960s Las Vegas Convention Center not only did conventions, they also hosted several high-profile boxing matches, including one featuring Floyd Patterson versus this iconic heavyweight boxer in 1965.
Muhammad Ali.
Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
All right,
That's
see,
easy.
everyone got it. Done.
Muhammad Ali. Do I even need to say it?
Oh, that classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's a
don't
good
even
one.
remember because I wasn't born
Cassius
yet.
Clay would also be, accepted.
A good answer.
Yeah.
That's true. All right.
Oh, yeah, he hadn't
question-
changed his name yet, so yeah.
Question 7. According to the Westgate Hotel, people in Las Vegas consume more of this in one day than the entire United States does in a year.
Water.
Close. It's
According to
associated
the
with water.
Westgate
Read
Hotel,
your question
though,
again.
Tom, we have to think about this.
I know, right?
People in Las Vegas consume more of this in one day than the entire United States does in a year.
Vodka.
No, it's not vodka.
It is liquid. It is water of adjacent.
Soda?
Coca-Cola.
Consume.
What?
Consume.
Gatorade.
Jello.
It's not Gatorade.
Close.
No.
Shrimp.
Close. Very close.
Oh,
very
lobster.
Close.
Lobster tails.
What is the category of that called?
Shrimp.
Oh, what?
Crustaceans.
Viet close.
Cocktail sauce?
It's a type of fish with a
Oh.
with a. With
How is
a-
that water? Oh, because it's fish are in water. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to think like Roger.
Oh man.
You got it, Len. It's shellfish. It's
Shellfish.
Shellfish.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be shellfish.
Oysters. Yeah.
in one
Probably
day.
A
These
lot
people
from probably the Caesar's buffet. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because of all the buffets. 60,000 pounds or 30 tons of shellfish a day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I probably had about half of that when I was.
Think of all the EpiPens that they go through. All right. Final question. At the end of this month, and this is the hardest one. At the end of this month, Las Vegas will be host to this convention dedicated to this one construction material, and will occupy the LVCC at the end of January.
Particle.
So this-
Sheetrock.
Sheetrock's a better one. You're right.
sheetrock.
Just throw
Wait,
it. Throw it.
which one did you say, Tom?
I said particle board, but
Particle board,
Yeah,
sheetrock.
I
Yeah.
feel like sheetrock's probably
This
better.
one-
So this is like
construction
this is
material.
well after this is not CES related.
Concrete?
This is-
I mean,
Had got it.
Oh,
Concrete.
the
Wow.
concrete convention.
Well, it's not
yeah.
concrete. It's the
concrete
World of
convention.
Concrete.
World
Holy
of
mackerel.
concrete. Wow.
Draws
I am there.
48,000 draws 48,000 people from 120 different countries.
Wow.
to
That's
talk
amazing.
concrete.
that's a good reminder that from our question earlier of like how many people does does Vegas host
Oh, yeah.
as far as
Is it-
conventions go? It's like a lot.
Is that
Yep.
annual, Roger?
That is an annual convention.
So I probably was in Las Vegas last year during the concrete.
And you didn't go to World of Concrete, Len?
I didn't even know it was
the heck?
there.
Oh, you missed
even
out.
come
Glenn.
back with
Yeah,
your
missed out.
Oh, imagine all of the concrete you would have seen.
I would have loved it.
I would
come
imagine
over
they
with your
probably have
free
a
bag
whole
of
haul
cement.
of nothing but rebar. You
bag of
you
cement.
missed out, man.
And the only snack is frozen custard.
I actually asked the CES person once, why are there so many conventions here? It's like, we have so much hotel space.
Yeah.
There's so many hotels that you
This is
can
one of
fit
the
all
only
the-
places where you can get that many people together. Well, thank you, Roger, for creating that quiz. And thank you, Len, who drew the art for today's episode. It is time to reveal it. Len, what did you draw?
So you had a very spirited discussion about fake people on Meta. And when I saw that story, I just had one reaction, which is, this is pointless. This is pointless. And that's kind of what this is. This guy, I made him specifically very ugly because I asked Photoshop to generative AI to generate people and also ChatGPT to generate names. So everything in the background is generated by AI.
Such as
and you can
Lila Thornbridge.
Yeah, Lila
Maeve,
Thornbridge.
Maeve
Rowan
Kelly.
Duskwood,
Yeah.
Theo
got some
Grin with a
weird
grin.
names. And then,
Dewan
this
Duskwood.
is sort of dark. There's a quote from Carl Jung saying, "Man cannot stand a meaningless life." And that's what this all felt like. Very dark way to start the new year, I think.
Yeah, well,
but,
join the club.
just the way it felt. Yes, I agree with Rob too. It's like, I can't even stand, real people. Why would I want people? Why would I want fake people? Anyway, if you like this darkness, if you're into the dark, you can get it at my Patreon, patreon.com/lend. Back me at the DTNS lover level. You'll get it immediately, or go the old fashioned way. Go to my online store and pick it up for yourself there. Just order it. And remember that, as AI encroaches on our life, just try to live the best life you can before the bots take over. That's all I'll say.
Thank you, Len.
Speaking of living a good life, Len, I can see outside your window. It looks kind of snowy out there.
It is. It's been snowing all day.
Yeah.
And,
I heard that part of the world is feeling kind of lake effect. Is that what we
yes,
call
lake
it?
effect snow. We
Lake
are not
effect
even getting
snow.
the worst of it. We are getting just like some snow, but some parts here in Ohio in the snow belt are getting up to 16 inches this weekend. So
Wow.
That would be my father and my
right,
folks.
Rob.
Yeah, it's just
Well-
just south of Ashtabula,
Yep.
Lynn.
Yep.
So yeah, that's about as bad as it gets.
Terrible.
Well, everybody, stay safe, stay comfy. Before we reveal what we picked as the final show titles, let's check out some of the other good submissions that we have been getting, which we have, over at dtns.showbot.tv. Roger, what do we got?
We got Not My Cylon from Saray TW.
I like that.
Dead Internet is here, Ambassador Tobo. Tom Space Math from Zoe Brings Bacon. Flock or Flee to Fake People, also from Zoe. This space elevator takes me to the penthouse data center from Saray TW.
Nice.
Tom versus Tech Tom from the Stoic Man. GPEG 84 is the AI therapist won't give you Xanax. I mean, maybe in the future, right? You never know. A Las Vegas quiz from C-Spot. But we ended up going with Clinton Woodward's. I mean, it's a great title. Fake people. We don't even like real people.
That was a good
That
one.
is it.
That
Yes,
was a good
excellent.
one.
That is
Yeah.
excellent.
We
Yeah.
saw it
Well
early,
done.
and thank you to everybody for submitting. But Clinton, you rolled up with that one.
Clinton takes
He
the
nailed
cake.
it.
Yep.
He nailed it.
Before we get out of here real quick, there's a new top 5 tech winners of 2024. You can catch that at Daily Tech News Show on TikTok, DTNS Show on Instagram, and youtube.com/Daily Tech News Show. And don't forget our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
If you have questions and comments, send us an email at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. But you can catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 2100 UTC for another couple months anyway. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We are at CEX next week with coverage straight from the Las Vegas Convention Center, starting on Monday with Shannon Morris. Talk to you then. Have a great weekend.
This week's episodes of Daily Tech News Show Live were created by the following people. Producer and host Sarah Lane. Host Tom Merritt. Host Robb Dunewood. Producer Roger Chang. Video producer Joe Kuntz. Producer at large Anthony Lemos. Social media producer and moderator Zoe Detterding. Our mods: Beatmaster W. Scottus1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, aka Gadget Virtuoso, and JD Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luders. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Tom McNeil. Contributors for this week's show included Dr. Nikki Ackermans, Jen Cutter, and Justin Robert Young. Our guests this week were Tasia Custodian, David Spark, and thanks to all the patrons who make the show possible.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.